How are you doing, Mr. Parker?
I'm doing just great. No complaints my end. I don't have anybody ripping me for a change. It's good to see you get ripped.
Is he ripping me?
Yeah, he's
Is
ripping
that a
you.
rip?
It's a rip.
People said he clapped back at me a couple days ago, and I was like, dude, that was tame.
No. But still to do it publicly. He
tried to come at me today.
He did a Magic Johnson, going
he
public.
Didn't go that right.
But I'm saying going public.
Right.
He could have just DM'd you or did something.
He being Kevin Durant.
Right.
He being
But of course,
KD.
you don't have his number.
Right.
Let me see.
We've never talked.
You've never talked before. Let me see. You're from.
I just completely went on the air and made up a 5-minute story about all the things KD and I have talked about.
That's incredible. I mean,
It was great acting.
That somebody would even think that. With your background as a newspaper reporter and your integrity, that you would just make up a story that could easily be checked, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it ain't like,
especially with somebody that you know will go back at you.
And how would you say that you've had a conversation with somebody that you didn't? I just don't even understand how that could be. You wouldn't do that. Not on national television. You might be able to say that to your buddy, like trying to make somebody feel good or impressed. You know what I mean? Like that personally. But you wouldn't do that publicly.
I would
just
not
don't
do
even
that.
understand.
I would
no,
not
I know
lie
that.
about that.
But
and
you know
just,
what I'm saying. Like it's more apt for somebody to do that on a one-on-one. But to go on national television and do that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, let's introduce the crew, and then I will give an explanation.
Let's do that because we wouldn't be able to do this fine radio program without him. Rob G., of course, our producer. Alex, our engineer. Chris, on the ones and twos, of course, continues to train, my former student from USC. He's here. Ralph Irvin is our sports update anchor, so he'll keep us updated throughout the program. Jonah, our intern. And yes, Elijah, our social media guru. They're all on the other side of the glass. Chris Broussard on this Wednesday.
Worship, you can't say
Worship
it.
Wednesday. I always
How
forget.
many times?
On this Worship
Do
Wednesday.
I ever forget Magic City Monday?
No, because you want to go to
I'm
Magic
going to start
City.
calling it Monday.
No, you want to go to Magic City.
That's the name
why.
of the day, Monday.
No,
it's not
Magic
Magic City Monday.
All right, let's say
until you start saying Worship Wednesday.
They're all on the other side of the glass on this Worship Wednesday.
You.
Come on, Chris Broussard. Let's kick some beep. See, being nice because it's Worship Wednesday.
Well, let's do it. All right, first, let's get to the situation with Kevin Durant. I talked about on Friday, just for a recap for everybody, how with Jonas Knox was filling in for you, how KD's worst nightmares coming to pass. Because this narrative that has followed him for the past few years, even as he's been tremendous as a basketball player, has been that he went to the best team in the league, a team that didn't need him anyway, and people feel like his rings are a little cheapened. You know, I mean, that's not me only, or me, period. That's Walt Frazier came out and said there's a mental asterisk by KD and how great he is in those rings. And, several players around the Enes Kanter was on our show, said among most players, that's how dudes feel.
Or at least some, no doubt.
Right. So that was what we talked about Friday. That went out on social media. And KD, I don't even call it a clapback, but he just tweeted out something to the effect of, really, buddy, that's the worst thing that could happen. Playing it the literal card.
Right, I understand. Right.
And of course it's not the worst thing that happened. A death in the family, and some type of crime that you
all
are
kinds,
victimized by or whatever. And even on the court, a career-ending injury, there are a lot of worse things that can happen. But it's a figure of speech. You understand. People understand what I was meaning. And then today I explained on Undisputed what happened. And I talked about, they asked me about that clapback, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I talked about my relationship with KD to give some background and how he's gone at me before privately. A lot of time, not all the time, a few times when I say something wrong that he doesn't like, he would hit me on DMs, direct messaging, Instagram or Twitter.
I only thought guys used that for females, so I'm wrong.
Well, he was sneaking in my DMs.
All right.
I'm
just saying.
He was sneaking up in a brother's DMs. And we would then have a text conversation. And I look back at him today, and we had 3 conversations within the last year that lasted over 5 hours. Not we're not texting for 5 hours straight.
No, like as you go on,
the
right.
continual conversation.
Right. You might have something
over
to do
5 hours.
Right. I get it. Right.
And I remember what I was doing in those days, you know, why it took so long, but 5 hours. And we discussed a lot of things. Lifestyle, just life in general, media, coverage and things like that, basketball and faith. Yeah, and we do share a common faith in Jesus Christ, and that would enable, like he came at me hard a couple times because he didn't like what I said on TV, but as we talked things out, our common faith would enable us to come to an understanding. Even if we disagreed with each other, we agreed to disagree, or, you know, it was an understanding. It was cordial. It was cool. And so that's what I said on television today. And KD responded. We put that out on social media, of course. And he responded with cap. Young guys, can y'all help me? That means lying, apparently. Yeah, I wasn't sure what that meant. But I took it like he busting caps in my story, like shooting it down or whatever.
That's what I thought it was.
So I took that, and he said, "You don't have my number, man." And so I tweeted back. So again, he's playing the literal card.
But you said that you didn't say that you called him.
I said texting.
But it was on the. It was.
It was texting, but through Instagram or Twitter, because it was on somewhere on Twitter, somewhere.
I know
on
what
Instagram.
he's saying. He's just being right.
He's being literal.
Right.
And so my thing, I tweeted back. Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, texting, it's all the same to me. It's all the same nowadays. Don't even act like I'm lying.
Right.
And what I would point out is if you look at his tweets both days, no denials. He didn't come out and say we didn't talk or we didn't text. We didn't communicate.
He just said you didn't have his number.
Right. And I do actually have a number for him. It's an old number. I'm sure, you know, these dudes change numbers all the time. So I'm sure it's not updated. But I do have a cell number for him that he gave me at some point in time. So that's the real deal. That's the story. I am not going to be petty and put out screenshots of these DMs.
I would be disappointed if you did that anyway.
It's petty, number one.
You don't
number
need to
two,
do that.
It would shoot down not only KD. I would not disrespect him like that, but it also would disrespect the other people that I communicate with privately.
I wouldn't communicate with you again.
Right.
I wouldn't if you did that. You don't have to do that.
No. So I mean, look, it's common sense, like you said. Why in the world would I go and make up a story like that on national television?
It doesn't make sense. True. It doesn't make sense.
And again, KD didn't even deny that we haven't talked.
All the people that I heard from today all said the same thing. There's no way Chris would make up a story like that. Everybody. Because it doesn't make sense. It just
even
doesn't.
If you're that type of person, it's dangerous. Like it makes no sense
to put that out there, right? Because then if they were to find out, your career would be in jeopardy.
Right.
If you made up that you're talking to KD and you've never had a conversation with him.
And not only not only from a lack of credibility standpoint, but the network.
No, Fox would
and rightly so. FS1 would be like, did you actually go on our air and just tell a bold-faced lie?
You would hear from Don and Scott too.
And right here too.
Right here.
And rightly so.
No doubt
rightly
about it.
So.
You can't do that.
And let me say this about Kevin Durant. I still, now he questioned my credibility. I don't like that. Okay? I am a credible reporter. When I've made mistakes or been wrong, I've admitted it. All right? So I'm a credible reporter. I don't like him questioning my credibility.
Hey, when that day comes from me and I make a mistake, I'm going to admit it as well.
That said, I do not dislike KD. I do not hate KD. If he DM me or hit me again, we would talk it out.
Let's get him on the show.
When I see him, I love to talk it out.
We should get him on the show.
Yeah, I'll hit him on the DM. A lot of times he don't respond, but I'll hit him on there.
We want him on the show.
See if he'll come on the show. But the players, I get it. Because I always try to put myself in another person's shoes. And I understand. Our job, Rob, and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith, like all our jobs, we critique athletes.
That's what we do.
Positive or negative. We're analysts. And sometimes a guy might not like it. And I get it. If I was in their shoes and a guy was saying stuff about me that I didn't like, and he comes up to me and shaking my hand, I could get why they might be mad. Because a lot of them don't understand the intricacies of our job.
No.
Journalism. You know what I mean?
Right.
They think,
me,
we cool, so it's going to be.
Right. Or we're here for the team.
Right.
I keep telling these guys, dude, you guys winning or losing doesn't affect me. I hate to break it to you.
Right.
Yeah, but you work for the New York paper or the Detroit paper. You shouldn't be ripping the Lions.
Right.
They stink.
Some of the teams
you guys
think that
stink.
too. Right.
I mean, what do you want me to tell you?
And so I still have no problem with Kevin Durant. I still respect him and hope the best for him as a person and as a player. And so it's all good. That's the deal. That's the story. And you know, Rod, look, we've been in this business
for what, 104 years combined?
Over 30. I'm close to 30 or something like that. This comes with the territory.
We know it.
We've had run-ins with athletes before.
Trust me, I've had them.
Yeah, it happens. And again, they have a right to get it off their chest, but let's move on and be adults about this situation.
No doubt about it. And when you see them, you don't run from people. I used to beat all the time. I would go write a bad column, a tough column on somebody, show up the next day.
Yep.
I'm not going to get in your face and go, did you read what I wrote?
Right.
I tried what? What you were right? No, but I would make myself available so if he wanted to step to me, he could say something. Do you know?
Yep.
And I remember once I wrote a really tough column about Sparky Anderson, the late, great manager of the Tigers. And I showed up the next day. And Tony Phillips was at the batting cage, and he was like, he turned around, he saw me, he goes, you got some big ones to show up here today. He said, after what you did to Skip in the paper? And I was like, he goes, but I respect it. He goes, you know what I mean? I respect it.
Right.
He said, I don't know if I agree with what you wrote, but I respect that you are here.
Yep.
And you do.
It comes with the territory.
And if Sparky wanted to rip on me, I would stand there and take it.
So did you?
No, Sparky saw me, but he didn't say anything.
He never said anything?
No, he just let it go.
No, it happens. I had run-ins, Stephon Marbury, Mike Fratello and I at one point, and we talked it out, And
when he was coach or when
he was coach of the Cavaliers, and I was the beat writer. This was back in the mid-'90s.
Wow.
My first beat. Yeah, the Czar.
The Czar.
But it was cool. You talk it out.
It wasn't because of his hairpiece or anything. It was about the team.
Is that – I don't know.
Don't tell me it ain't about you.
He was wearing it slick back. I think. It's hard to remember.
You're acting like that's not a piece?
Is it? He looks good for 70-ish or whatever he is. Mighty Mike the Czar. But anyway, that's the deal. And we're going to give you guys a chance to weigh in. What do you think?
Is Chris Broussard a liar?
About
1-800-1877.
That's basically it. What do you think about Kevin Durant's Twitter clapback? And do you think I'm lying? Sean, you're on with the Odd Couple. What's happening?
Hey, man, first of all, thank God you sunned KD on the internet like that, man. You did it in the most classiest way possible. You gave him facts. And on top of that, he was responding to something that's a fact. I mean, there are players out here talking about their asterisk next to his title. One of them play on his own team. You know what I mean? So how is he even mad about that in the first place? And then my other point is, man, there's got to be levels to this, KD. You're over here getting on fans for saying stuff like, oh, we did it without KD, not even making like any kind of scathing remarks toward him, and then you getting on analysts for doing their jobs. Like, he needs to be focused about getting back from this calf injury before he proves all the doubters right and Golden State goes and wins the title without him.
But Sean, this is why I call KD the Masot, the most sensitive of all time, because he claps back at guys in their mom's basement with 25 followers. You know what I mean? And, and all that stuff. I don't even get it, man. What life is he living? He should be the happiest guy in the world, man. I don't know. Is he still with Taylor Rooks? I mean,
if you don't like it, don't watch it.
I mean, what?
Yeah,
I'm serious. You're like this great basketball player. You make a lot of money.
Right.
You have a beautiful girlfriend, and you're worried about what Chris Broussard said on television.
Well, look, he obviously has a right to clap back or get on social media all he wants. I just wonder, does it lead to his unhappiness? Because he obviously can still play ball with all these voices in his head.
No, I mean, we saw that.
Are you
that
happy?
Ain't right.
That's what I wonder.
Let's go to Tony in Seattle. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's happening, Tony?
Hey, how you guys doing? Love your show.
Thank you.
I don't think it's a fact of believe in. I don't think anyone can dispute, Chris, your credibility in this. I think for KD, it's like everybody says. I'm a big KD fan, so I might be a little.
No, that's cool. That's cool though. Right.
But my thing is that all he hears is the double standard from the media in this sense to me. Everybody talks about, okay, it's an asterisk. Why? Everybody act like KD went run into Golden State when it was the other way around, but we don't talk about LeBron with the Heat as being an asterisk because.
But wait a minute, Tony. I don't know when you say nobody talks about. That's not true.
I know you do. I know you do.
Okay. All right, Tony. All right, Tony.
Tony,
leave me alone.
I have also said. Now, I've said in principle what KD did, and this is why I didn't kill him when he went there, because in principle, it is very similar to what LeBron did going to Miami. Now,
he won up LeBron.
Right. KD's was, I don't want to say worse like it was a bad thing, but yeah, KD went to a better team, a team that had already won a championship. But in principle, they both went to stacked teams.
Right.
So in that regard, and I think LeBron obviously caught heat for it, but the reason I didn't kill KD at the time was because I said, look, just like with LeBron James, when KD wins these championships, maybe he's the MVP of the finals, everybody's going to praise him. And that's exactly what happened to LeBron, and it's what happened to KD. It's only now that they are playing without him that people are questioning it now and saying, wow, they may not have needed. Go ahead, Tony, if you want to respond to that.
But the thing, Chris, is, though, even if we look at it now, okay, we all know what Portland is. Was those really about how great Golden State is, or is it really about how the gap between Golden State, even without KD?
They weren't ready, Tony, 100%. Portland, they weren't ready for that.
Look, Tony, I'll give you it remains to be seen. If Golden State may go out and lose in the finals. And then
the whole narrative changes.
Right, Rob and I have said, if they win the finals without KD, look, his rings are his rings, and they're legit because he was great.
And he won MVP.
It diminishes him a little.
But if
they lose without KD, it elevates his rings.
It will elevate, and people will say it is about him and not about Steph. Max in Georgia, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Max?
What's up, fellas? I just wanted to call in and give Chris some praise. Rob's my guy. I agree with Rob 80%.
Yes, my man.
I'm surprised you'll admit that publicly, Max.
I want to come in and give you a shout-out because you handled yourself well. I will say this. I'm not surprised, but it's always nice to see you consistently. Professionalism, the way you handle yourself, the way you stay mature, you sit back and let things go. You don't just overly react to the moment. And KD, the one thing I don't get about him is if he's leaving anyways, why does this bother him? Why is he so in his feelings?
Right.
How other people want to write the story? If you're leaving, you're leaving. And if anything, that can just make the exit that much smoother, right? There's people that...
And that much greater if you go somewhere else and win.
Hey, Max, that was a nice call for Chris.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, cool. Man. Let's go to Jared in Australia. All right, we love getting the calls from down under. Jared, what's happening?
What's happening, boys?
What's good?
Hey, Jared, just one thing. Do y'all still have MCI there in Australia or not?
What is it? MCI?
See,
just ignore him.
That used to be. That used to be a long distance company. That's all. It's all.
Rob, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm not on that, right?
Wow. Okay, I didn't know you were that young. You're so mature.
All right, Jared, what's happening, man?
Rob, Chris, I'm sending you some faith from down under. Look, you're very credible. I mean, I used to be a part of a Facebook page, and we used to debate basketball, and I used your points and your facts. Used to win me a lot of debate, so I know that what you're saying is credible.
Well, at least they work for you. Too bad they don't work for Chris on the radio.
That's it. But Rob, you summed it up good the other day when you said about your story about the news editor. I mean, KD, he responds to all the negativity, but he never responds to anything positive that people say. I'll say you summed that up perfectly.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Jared. We appreciate that, man. Let's go to Marty in Kentucky. Marty on with Chris and Rob.
How's it going, fellas?
What's up,
What's
Marty?
Happening, man?
Man, Chris Broussard is my man, and I will never even start to even consider that your credibility could be questioned. We've been through this We've been through this. It's Worship Wednesday, by the way. Happy Worship Wednesday.
Yes, you too.
Amen.
And we've been through this before with KD and Stephen A. Smith. And I just tell people, you look at both people's history and decide for yourself who's credible and who, and I don't think you've even bashed the guy. I really
I
think
agree.
You were talking
I didn't think
about
I was bashing him.
You were talking about perception, and he cares about perception. And you used a phrase, worst nightmare, which is just, you didn't really mean
right.
worst
It's
nightmare.
a figure of speech.
But man, I'm all with you. I'm just Marty from Kentucky, and I ain't important, but you'll always have I always have your back.
All right, my man. We always appreciate your call, Marty.
right.
Thank you, brother.